This is the Brewers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It's going to all come down to Saturday afternoon at American Family Field. The Brewers losing Game 3 and Game 4 at Wrigley Field to the Cubs, including tonight's ball game by final score of 6-0. Hello, everyone. Welcome in to the Locked On Brewers postcast. My name is Brandon Snide. You can follow me on Twitter at Brandon_Snide. Lots to get to on the show this evening. The Cubs, yes, you heard that at the beginning of it, forcing a Game 5 in this one, a rough start for Freddy Peralta. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Brewers bullpen. We'll talk about how this team is set up going forward into Game 5 and who may get the start, who may not get the start, and pressure all on the Brewers now, shifting from what was must-win games for the Cubs are now a must-win game for the Brewers and the Cubs on Saturday in Game 5. Real quickly here, friendly reminder, wherever you guys get audio podcasts, remember you can get this program as well. Thank you for making Locked On Brewers part of your day each and every day. And we'll get to some of your thoughts, your reactions. I know there's some of your frustrations. You got it if you're like me. Not thrilled with the performance from our Milwaukee Brewers in Wrigley Field in either one of these games. The Brewers with so many opportunities late in the Game 3 game where they lost, where they had guys on base late in that game. They were unable to come through in that one. And tonight, from start to finish, the Brewers did not look like they wanted to be in Chicago this evening at all. They lose the game 6-0. We'll get into all of that, but let's begin with the scoring summary tonight, brought to you by Rugiet and Gametime. And Freddy Peralta getting the start for Milwaukee on the bump this evening, taking the loss today. Not a good one for Freddy Peralta. And without further ado, unfortunately in this one, it begins our turning point in a 6-0 loss.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Right away for Freddy Peralta, finding himself in a bit of a jam, a Nico Hoerner single, a Kyle Tucker walk. Boy, you can't do the walks and the home runs together. They both hurt you, but when you do them together, you allow them to happen together. Bad things have happened, and that was the case for Freddy Peralta in the first inning. Ian Happ coming into tonight was hitting .095 in the postseason. Ian Happ with a absolute dart out to right field, was an absolute no-doubter from the second it left his bat, gave the Cubs a 3-0 advantage right away in the first. And Matthew Boyd on the other side of the hill for the Chicago Cubs, a completely different pitcher from what we saw in Game 1 at American Family Field last weekend. Matthew Boyd shutting down the Brewers offense for 4 2/3 in this one. Just nothing offensively tonight for the Brewers. Absolutely nothing. They had runners in scoring position. They left 6 guys on base. They were only 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. As I mentioned, they had 3 hits on the night. You are not going to win many games in any sport. It's certainly baseball when you don't have any offensive, threat on the bases or in the game whatsoever. But the Cubs did this evening, and Matt Shaw also with a single in the 6th would bring home a run. That would give the Cubs a 4-0 advantage, and then a couple more home runs in the 7th inning from Kyle Tucker. You hope to have to get him going, certainly ahead of Game 5. And then Michael Busch. Stop me if you've heard me talk about Michael Busch hitting a home run in this series. I believe it's his 4th in the postseason. I think it's his 3rd against the Milwaukee Brewers in this series. Those 2 guys with each a solo shot there. And that would round out the scoring for the Cubs. They would take that 6-0 advantage and cruise to a Game 4 victory. We mentioned Freddy Peralta for the Brewers and an interesting approach after Freddy Peralta. Trevor McGill would make an appearance out of the bullpen. He would struggle, allowing a walk, only going 1/3. Aaron Ashby for an inning and a third would come out. We kind of seen him in bulk before. Chad Patrick as well. And Robert Gasser getting the last 2 innings of this one. But it goes back to Freddy Peralta. It was an opportunity, I thought, when it was first reported, I put it out on my Twitter account at Brandon_Snide that I didn't love the Freddy Peralta getting the start in this one. I just did not feel great about this game. I don't want to say Murph was feeling the pressure, and obviously you want to win. You want to put your team in the best position to win. I didn't love Freddie's splits on the road at home. I didn't love Freddie's splits with 4 days of rest versus 5 days of rest. And I understand this is the playoffs. I understand you can't prepare for a loss and needing a game 5, but how much better would you have felt if the Brewers lost tonight 6-0 and you rolled out, I don't know, maybe Gasser, maybe a combination of Ashby and Chad Patrick, all three of those guys pitching tonight with Freddie available in game 5 at American Family Field. Now, certainly that's not what the Brewers are preparing for. I know hindsight is 2020. I understand you don't manage and prepare to lose a game. I just didn't feel great about it. And it's interesting with this Cubs team because Freddie, for the most part, has had some really good starts and had some not really good starts against this Cubs team. But there was something telling me it was one of those, gut feelings that I didn't like Freddie tonight out there on the mound. And it didn't take more than a couple of pitches, couple of at-bats for that to come to fruition with Ian Happ hitting the 3-run home run. And that's your turning point in the ball game because the Brewers wouldn't muster up any threat throughout the course of this game whatsoever. Just a pitiful and pathetic performance from the Milwaukee Brewers offense. All sorts of out of whack today. Just all sorts of, and really, I guess we're going to do it. And I hate to do it, but I guess I'm going to have to because I do feel it. I don't understand the Christian Yelich at the leadoff spot. I guess I just don't really understand why that is a thing. Why that I understand Murphy talking about it in his pregame media availability that he wants him to get more at bats, but you just won games 1 and 2 with Jackson Chourio at the leadoff spot. Jackson Chourio prior to coming to Chicago was batting .574 at the leadoff spot to begin the series. I guess I'm a little confused on it, and I'm not a lineup guy. I told you guys this before. I don't like to question the lineup changes and whatnot, but I don't know. It feels like since that lineup kind of switched over and things have changed, Bryce Terrain in the 3-hole today. Bryce Terrain's been horrible at the plate. I'm sorry, Bryce Terrain in the cleanup spot. He was in the 3-hole yesterday. He's been horrible. The bottom of your order getting nothing. When this offense gets going and when this offense is rolling, you're getting production out of the bottom of your lineup. So it turns back over to those high money guys. You're not getting the first 2 games in Chicago that you just weren't getting any production from the bottom of your order. Sal Frelick, had a hit this evening. He's one of, 2 other guys to get a hit this evening, but just again, not a lineup guy. I don't want to say, it should be this or should be that. It was odd for me that you switched everything that seemed to have worked wonderfully in games 1 and 2. Then in game 3, it was a completely different thing. And we saw Lockridge in there as well, which was another questionable move. But again, I'm not going to question it. It is what it is. It just feels like it's one of those things where you're kind of looking at it and you're like, maybe that was like overthinking it. Maybe you were doing a little bit too much, trying to get a little too cute. I don't know. We'll see if the Brewers can get it turned around for Saturday because it's a do or die situation come Saturday in game 5. This series in the National League Divisional Series all knotted up 2 games apiece as the Cubs get the 6-0 win at Wrigley Field. They hold serve in front of their home crowd, and things will turn back over to American Family Field for Saturday. Coming up after this, your thoughts, your reactions, our player of the game, and the things you'll be talking about tomorrow after the Brewers fall to the Cubs for the 2nd time at Wrigley Field. Today's Locked On Brewers postcast is brought to you by Rugiet. You guys have probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them, but if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Go Along. It's not just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. In the process here, guys, it's simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. If prescribed, again, discreetly right to your door. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to Rugiet.com. That's RUGIET.com and use promo code Locked On MLB for 15% off your first order. Once again, that's Rugiet.com. Use the promo code Locked On MLB. And again, let them know that folks over here at the Locked On Brewers postcast sent you. Today's Locked On Brewers postcast also brought to you by our wonderful friends over at Gametime. There is nothing like catching a baseball game live. Hopefully you'll be there Saturday, packing American Family Field. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. The queues, the login screens, the surprise fees. It takes all of the fun out of it, and that's why I personally use Gametime. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's fast, it's easy, it's backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included. So the price you see is what you are actually going to pay. Know your total upfront. No surprise fees at checkouts. Download the Gametime app today. Create an account. Use code Locked On MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, that's promo code Locked On MLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go right now. Download the Gametime app today. A 6-0 loss for our Milwaukee Brewers in Game 4 of the National League Divisional Series. And this one, from start to finish, was over before it really began. The Brewers is no threat whatsoever against the Chicago Cubs. And that brings us to our Locked On Brewers postcast player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Different pitcher at Wrigley Field is Matthew Boyd. Unfortunately, tonight, guys, in Game 3, we found a way to give the Locked On Brewers postcast player of the game to Jose Quintana and Grant Anderson, who held things down out of the bullpen. Nobody for Milwaukee deserving the postcast player of the game, but Matthew Boyd today setting the tone for his Chicago Cubs team. 4 2/3, only allowing 2 hits, a completely different pitcher than what we saw last Saturday when he gave up all those runs and only recorded 2 outs in the first inning of Game 1 of this series. And it's not a surprise. He's 12-1 at Wrigley Field. Matthew Boyd does those things, has done those things all season long in front of the home crowd at Wrigley Field. So give a lot of credit to Matthew Boyd for completely locking up that Brewers offense and from start to finish in this one. He goes 4 2/3, strikes out 6 batters, and again, only allowing the 2 hits. The Brewers would finish with only 3 on the evening. So also give a little bit of credit as well to the Cubs bullpen as well. Once again, coming in and shutting down the Brewers bats. A 6-0 loss. Series tied at 2 games apiece. I know Brewers fans aren't feeling good after this one.
This is what you'll be talking about.
We talked about pressure, and I had kind of mentioned after the Game 3 loss, that the Brewers would be looking at, facing a little bit of pressure going into Game 4 and how things were going to kind of transition a little bit from where the Cubs, had it to where now it's going to be more so on the Brewers. And now after the series is all tied up, it's all going to be on the shoulders of the Milwaukee Brewers. You went up in this series 2-0. You won both games at American Family Field. It was fun, 9-3, 7-4, whatever that final was. Things would be fine. Things were fun. You thought they would be fine. You thought you could get at least one of these games in Chicago. The Cubs playing for their lives for their season, and the Brewers were in good shape, pitching wise as well, bullpen wise as well. Teams up 2-0 in the best of 5 historically have won 90% of those series. So things were facing you were feeling pretty good if you're a Brewers fan. That's all changed. That has all changed, because if you lose this game, and I know this is going to sound hyperbolic, and I know a lot of people are going to come at me and say I'm crazy and I'm wrong and I'm an idiot, and don't put that pressure on them. You lose this series to the Cubs in Game 5 Saturday at American Family Field, and I'm not feeling good about it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to sit here and get behind the mic and tell you should feel good about a team where they had 3 hits in a potential clinching situation and couldn't score a run against Matthew Boyd and the Chicago Cubs bullpen. You lose this series against this Cubs team and what had started with a 2-0 series lead in best of 5, it will be the worst loss in Brewers playoff history, but it's going to be discussed as the worst loss in Wisconsin sports history in the postseason. And we hope it doesn't get to that point, right? I'm just saying, all that pressure now is on the Brewers to close this out. You have got to win on Saturday. You got 97 wins throughout the course of the season. You built that lead in the National League Central. You built that league throughout the National League to have that number 1 overall seed and have home field advantage, and you have to take advantage of it on Saturday. Well, I don't really know exactly who's going to be starting for either one of these teams. I'm sure we're not going to know probably until tomorrow, maybe even until Saturday morning. When these guys get things kicked off. I believe that game's got a 7:08 start Milwaukee time. So things are obviously still undecided, but this is going to have to be one of the biggest games that I can remember as a Brewer fan in quite some time. You go back to maybe game 7 of the NLCS, obviously, and what that game was, for this team. Game 3 last year for the wild card was big, but this is big because you had early control of this series and you allowed it to slip. The Brewers lose 6-0. Your thoughts, your reactions, welcomed on the program. Jacob Everydayer. I think we'll find out quickly what this team is made of, with their backs against the wall for real in Game 5, and it sets up wonderful. Again, you're at home. You're at American Family Field. You have the opportunity to play in front of your home crowd. I'm sure Cubs fans are going to pack American Family Field now because they're back in the series and they're feeling good. Use that Gametime app, guys. Download the Gametime app. Use that code LOCKEDONMLB. Go get $20 off your tickets. If you're a Brewers fan, pack American Family Field. Everydayer Cody, talk about a train coming off the tracks. Did they forget that this is the playoffs and you need to be pinpoint? I'm almost glad I worked Saturday night. Very pathetic performance out of Game 4. It was very uninspiring baseball from the Brewers today. Their appearances at the plate were out of sorts. It did not look anything like the team that had won 97 games. And there had been moments throughout the course of the year. There was no fight. When the Brewers went down 3-0, did you think they were coming back in this one? I didn't. I didn't. I mean, I was preparing for this loss, you guys, in the 5th inning. Like they did not have any fight. They had no juice. They had no energy. It didn't feel like the vibes were right. It was a very weird performance today for the Brewers. Obviously, when you lose 6-0, nothing feels good. James Murphy, Pat Murphy has made some poor starting pitching decisions the last 2 games. Again, I just didn't like the Freddy thing today. I understand people are going to tell me he's the best pitcher. It's a closeout game. You got to go win. I don't like his splits with the 4-day versus 5-day rest. I don't like it. Again, I understand why Murphy did it. I don't have an issue with the reasoning for it. Freddy Peralta tells you he's good to go. He's good to go, and you're going to listen and you're going to be all in on him. And I understand that. It, again, did not take long for my feelings to unfortunately come to fruition in this one with the 3-run home run from Ian Happen, again, who has been hitting really hasn't been hitting at all this series, an 0.95 ERA coming into this one. So it was not a good start for Freddy Peralta. Charlie over on YouTube, why can't the things I want to happen ever happen? It can still happen. It can still happen. I know there's a lot of negativity coming out of my mouth and the vibes I have right now currently, or the lack thereof. I understand all of that. And I apologize in advance. I'm very disappointed in this Brewers team. I'm very upset. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I'm a diehard Milwaukee Brewers fan. I do this show because I love talking about my favorite team. But more importantly, I love cheering for my favorite team. And when you have a chance to close out a team that I think we can all agree that we hate the most, that we dislike the most, that the manager for our team at one point said he could not win here, hypothetically, and went to a team, that is supposed to be our biggest rivals, and you have a chance to close them out, not once, but twice at their home, and you just failed to show up. You failed to do the things that you've done all season long, and I'm disappointed in this Brewers team. I'm very disappointed in the performance, obviously, in Game 3. There was moments there that they had, at least in that, to come through, but tonight was it was pitiful. I mean, it was absolutely pitiful tonight. 3 hits in a playoff game. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Glory Days Sports Consulting over on YouTube. McGill in the 5th was an interesting decision. Pitching wasn't the 100% issue. It's the non-consistent runners in scoring position hits. Those clutch hits haven't been visible at Wrigley. 100% agree. McGill in the 5th was weird too. The only thing I can think of is they wanted him to come in for a quick work. I mean, the game at that point, I understand technically wasn't out of hand, but with the way the Brewers offense was going or the lack thereof, it felt like that, certainly, but it was interesting to see Trevor McGill in that spot. But that also could have been something he just wanted to get Trevor McGill in a non-high leverage situation, get him back to maybe feeling better about that flexor strain. Everyday Nick, get back to basics and fundamentals. Take your walks. Don't swing out of the zone. Give the pitching run support. They can do it. God, I hope they can do it. Sounds like you're almost talking yourself into it, or you're trying to talk yourself into it, Nick. And I completely agree with you. It was very uncharacteristic for the Brewers. They had 8 strikeouts today versus only taking 4 walks. That just doesn't that can't happen. And that's not the Brewer baseball, right? That's not what we've seen all season long. That's not what we've done, to win 97 games and win the National League Central for the 3rd year in a row and get the number 1 overall seed. Those are things that we haven't been able to do, that we haven't done all year. And now we're showing it against at the worst possible time you can imagine. Mixter every day over on YouTube. You know what I would like in this series? A lead first. Yeah, the Cubs. Although Mixter, the Cubs, they get the win today. They did score first. First time it's happened in the series in 4 games. Usually the team that scores first has lost until obviously this evening. The Cubs scoring first and holding on for the victory. It all comes down to Game 5. Can the Brewers get it done? I am already nervous thinking about Game 5. My anxiety is already kicking in thinking about Game 5. But again, let's see. The backs are against the wall. Let's see how they respond. The pressure, no doubt about it, is now all on Milwaukee. The series tied up at 2 apiece. That'll do it for tonight's show. Again, Brewers lose 6-0 in the NLDS. It's a late night, and you guys are all here hanging out with me. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you. Thank you for making Locked On Brewers part of your day each and every day. Friendly reminder, wherever you guys get audio podcasts, you can listen to the Locked On Brewers postcast as well. Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon. Wherever you guys get audio podcasts, you can get this very program as well. And we will pick things back up on Saturday evening, a 7:08 Central Time first pitch, Game 5, Brewers Cubs at American Family Field. I hope you'll join me after the game. Hopefully we'll be talking about the Brewers moving on to face the Dodgers in the NLCS. But as always, we've done it all year. We're not going to change it now. It's a tough couple of losses at Wrigley Field, but win, lose, or draw, it is always go Brewers. Have a good one, everyone. See ya.